Alright guys, so I wanted to discuss working through trauma today. So one of the main things I wanted to discuss was microdosing psilocybin. So if you've heard about it, it is becoming more popular now. I am referring to what people call magic mushrooms, that sort of thing. Paul Steinmetz is fantastic to look into for this sort of stuff. First came across this, let's say eight months ago. So I knew a girl that had severe PTSD, and literally it was microdosing mushrooms and yoga and some TCM stuff, traditional Chinese medicine, helped her pull through. So I started using it maybe 12 weeks ago-ish. I've probably only done it about 20 times maybe. And what constitutes a microdose? About 1/10 of a gram or so. So this is by no means you're taking this to see anything, to hallucinate, anything like that. If anything, when you would take it, it feels like your brain would get a massage. If you had depression or anxiety, it would probably be calmed and lifted. You feel sharper. My main thing was I was taking the advice of guys like Kyle Cease of getting back to, like, and I'm naturally drawn to this. I'd sit there and I went up to 8 hours, I think 6, 7, maybe 8 hours one day. I had times where I was literally just doing sun gazing and like even just like crying and like whatever had to come out, looking at it, following my own advice in the video, clearing the container. But excuse me, what it did allowed me to look at stuff that was very triggering in an okay way, almost like, okay, this can pass by and you're okay to go there now. You're okay to go to that area that's still maybe raw. And just sitting there really specifically, like I remember I went for a bit of a walk and I was sun gazing, standing there, sun was hitting my forehead, and a wave of stuff. It was like past relationships. The pain was there, but I was okay with it. I felt it coming out of me, coming right out of my body. And I was just standing there and I was looking at the sun. And I could feel all the pain almost like throbbing out, but I was okay to stand and be in it and just let it come out. And I swear every time, like there's strange stuff, every time I'd use it, I swear my skin would look different, my eyes would look brighter, my mood would be lifted, I'd feel calmer, get more done, creativity would probably shift too. Yeah, I mean, if you watch that first video, some of the stuff coming back from, I never looked at stuff like this before because I've done so many years of meditation and I'm a huge believer in meditation, reaching higher states with that. It wasn't for that. It wasn't for an expanded effect. It was for a just healing, deep healing effect. And I mean, it's profound, absolutely profound. I have friends that came back from post-concussive syndrome that I had them use like lion's mane mushroom and ashwagandha, and then eventually on their own they decided to try some microdosing and it launched them forward. I remember various times I felt like I had deaths, like I had to lay down on a forest floor and I felt like parts of like old stories were dying off. Like I really intuitively felt like you need to lay down on the forest floor and let whatever this is clear out of you, and just it definitely teaches you surrender and letting go. And I would just do this. I'd do like a prayer and I'd do surrender and letting go and get out into nature and meditate and just do this process. And I just kept doing this and it got to the point where there was nothing left to maybe cry out if you had to cry, or maybe the anger got dealt with. So personally, like I feel like I cried out everything that had to come out, but I'm working through anger stuff. So to give you some idea, if people have depression, it's normally repressed anger, or it's almost like, a lot of time it can be anger turned inwards. So anger and rage is a step up from somebody who's dealing with depression or something like that, or if somebody has some other trauma in there. So that I feel almost like it defragments a computer almost, goes to the nervous system. I know ayahuasca is apparently supposed to do the same sort of thing, just like goes through, it's like collecting and clearing. Vagus nerve stuff, like laying laying down on your back, directly looking to the right for like 30 seconds to like directly looking to the left. I learned that one. What was the other one? I mean, what was some of the other techniques? There's a simple one I remember teaching someone. I think I got somebody to do this in person. Like from closing your eyes in one of these. Even as I'm doing this, I'm calming. Stroke the sides of your arms and then move your eyes side to side, and it will increase delta waves in the brain. And you're going to start clearing trauma. And then you can start thinking of your trigger, and you're going to want to disconnect from the trigger. So the minute you start to think of it, picture the trigger, start to feel it. Picture walking slowly down a staircase, feet walking on a beach, and then picture hands lightly going across the keyboard. Picture these things, and what it's going to do is it's going to, boom, disconnect your connection to the trauma, calm. So even if it's an environment, whatever, that used to trigger you, all of a sudden, like, whoa, that trigger that was an 8, all of a sudden it's like a 1 or a 0. It's called havening. That's the havening technique. So that's one to, those are some ones to look into. I can't say enough though, like the psilocybin, all I thought was that just like it's profound. Obviously, do what you're comfortable with, do your research, but I mean, if you know somebody who has depression, anxiety, been through trauma, PTSD stuff, it is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, those two. You can also do so the vagus nerve one there. You can even do lying on your back on a yoga mat. And like I said, 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other. It will reset the vagus nerve. So it's stress response. Yin yoga I find to be phenomenal. A lot of trauma is held in the fascial tissue, which is what holds the body together quite literally. Magnesium, I'd really say. Magnesium glycinate for calming the nervous system. Make sure your sleep is better. So this is something I want to be looking into more. If somebody's got PTSD symptoms, certain things, sometimes they could have nightmares, bouts of anger and rage, things like, all sorts of stuff like that, stuff with sleep. So I know there's people out there that have got great success with CBD, possibly just pot in general, but all the stuff with the nervous system with the magnesium is huge. Magnesium in mental health. It's used for over 200 processes. It's very, very important. So magnesium, meditation is going to be a game changer. Follow that cleaning the container technique that I mentioned, everything I mentioned in here. And it's one of those things of do the time. If you can sit down and watch a movie every day or a couple shows every day, you can meditate for an hour or two. It sounds nuts, but you can make the time. If you're going, especially if you're going through stuff, and it'll just continue to launch you forward. Adaptogenic herbs are always good ones to look into. All the stuff that's helping regulate the nervous system, topping up on your vitamin C, can help boost cortisol, stress hormone. So it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but stress hormones there is like a buffer. But to give you some idea, I'm looping back to the psilocybin. I've used a bunch of medicinal mushrooms, and that is still trumps everything, hands down. Lion's mane can't touch it. Reishi is awesome, still can't touch it. Cordyceps, turkey tail, nothing. It just, I feel like a lot of people would use things like pot and CBD as a bandage, and I feel like the microdosing, I feel like it's doing incredibly deep healing. And I mean, I know the life-changing effects that people can get from ayahuasca, and this stuff is just, it's stunning how impressive it is. It's a lot different than somebody going out and taking a couple of grams and having visuals versus microdose. And you can almost feel at times like you literally got a soothing brain massage, almost like a super calming effect. I notice I can even see the stress, like even almost when like coming off your face. Um, yeah, a lifted mood, calmer. It would be not my number one at this point. If somebody had some sort of significant trauma in their life, I'm hearing some of these things that people have of like, I won't even get into it. I don't know enough about it. There's different trauma techniques. Patchouli, essential oil, and bergamot, and what's the other one? Those two right now. You can rub them on, you can diffuse them, you can bathe in them, and the one weird one, put it in carrier oil, put it in your belly button. It sounds so bizarre, but that's from Ayurveda. It'll go to all the nerve tissues, go to everything, raise your vibration, raise your frequency. You will pull sheets of trauma out of you. So integrate with yin yoga. Patchouli in particular, I mean, there is one guy, I think I recommended this too, he had a bit of a reaction. He had so much trauma in him. But I mean, you could expect having a bath with patchouli, it can be transformative. I know a woman that I'm friends with, and she had a patchouli massage top to bottom, and she had something else. There's patchouli and ylang ylang, full body massage. Her life transformed, literally from one massage with carrier oil, because it was in her for probably weeks. And everything moved and shifted, and all of a sudden she studied Ayurveda and moved to a different country. Quite literally, like relationship stuff, everything changed. That was the only thing that happened. It was just super transformative. So, might leave it there right now. I will add in sun gazing, which I will talk about in general. Everything that comes to me with sun gazing intuitively is that it trumps just about everything. Especially for longevity, I'll talk about that more. But when I say sun gazing, when the sun's coming up, you can look into the sun. When the sun is coming down, you can lightly look into it. And you only want to do it for little bits at a time. Or if you don't even want to do that, close your eyes, let it go into the third eye, and it can feel like it's just charging you. But that stuff, I tell you, it is that stuff. It is phenomenal. Like you will reverse aging in a big way, and I'll discuss that in another video. What I found, yeah. So those are some of the things I was finding. Emphasize the fish oil in the diet. Emphasize the avocado, the magnesium. What else? Lower the inflammation in the diet. I actually was finding, full disclosure, I did eat a donut in there, but aloe vera, calming the digestive system, cooling effect, healing, overall less inflammation, calmer. So that would help, because the calmer you can clear the trauma, let it unwind from the nervous system. And remember, if you're feeling anything, just love it. Send love and light to whatever you're feeling, and it will unravel, and stop trying to resist how you're feeling, even if it is rough and you're having a hard time. And it's perfectly okay to sit with someone you love and care about, hold their hand, and go to those spaces that feel tough to go to. Bawl your eyes out, punch a pillow, scream into it, drive your car, scream at the top of your lungs, punch a punching bag. Oh, trust me, yeah. Yeah. Whatever you need to do, and let it release and clear, because you deserve to have that out of you. So comments, questions down below. Let me know what you think.